Vince is fine. I don't know if Bill Baker is fine.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with our Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. We'll get started with a Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Baker. Bilk. Here. Cox.
Here.
Frizone. Here. Hutchinson.
Here.
Mendoza Bach. Pyatt. Upholzer. Here. Wood.
Here. Thank you. I'll be looking for a motion to excuse absent members.
Motion to excuse the absent members.
Second.
Moved and supported. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty. Okay, so today we have two public hearings. The first one, A, is a zoning ordinance text amendment discussion for the R1 district in regards to a special use for horse stables. The second one, B, is a zoning ordinance text amendment for C3 district, RV parks, to reduce the number of sites permitted. We'll start with A in regards to the horse stable special use. Again, for this public hearing, this is an opportunity for the Planning Commission to hear feedback from residents of Gibraltar. We'll take the feedback. Later in the agenda, we have the discussion for today is not a site plan review or an approval of the implementation of a horse stable, rather the consideration of a recommendation for the special use amendment. With that being said, we'll go ahead and open up a public hearing and open it up to the floor for any residents that want to provide feedback.
Good evening, Commission members. Garrett Shoemate, 31140 Island Drive. I just want to call attention to the fact that you should have received via email the notes that we received from residents related to some of their feedback, some of which has to be anonymously represented. So just make sure that you're considering that in the discussion this evening. Katie, thanks for sending those.
Yeah, thanks, Garrett. We received two emails from residents as well as one email from Marie, one of our Planning Commission members that we just. Any feedback or questions from the residents? Okey doke. We'll go ahead and close out public hearing A, the R1 district horse stables special use discussion. We will open up the public hearing for zoning ordinance text amendment in the C3 district RV parks to reduce the number of sites permitted. Just a reminder, this was discussed in, I believe, 2023. We approved it. It was for 40 sites. The discussion or the feedback would be in consideration of reducing that to 26 sites. Open to the floor for residents.
Wayne Brennan, 30490 South Gibraltar Road. If I remember right, John, didn't you read a letter saying the piping might not have been, sewage might not have been set up right for that?
Yeah, I read something on that, but they said that it's their property. They didn't tap into the sewer system, they tapped into the building that's already there.
But it was built without the proper permits in the first place, though, correct?
Huh?
That was all built without proper permits in the first place?
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah, I believe there was a fine issued to the previous owners of Humboldt.
Well, I seen what the fine was, $150, big deal. I wish I could get away with that.
Yeah.
I mean, they do that for, a parking fine, basically. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other feedback for C3 district? Okay, we'll close out section B, public hearing for the C3 district RV parks. Thank you. Moving on in the agenda, do we have public comment for matters on the agenda? Okay, I'd be looking, next section, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved and supported, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next we'll be looking for approval of the previous meeting minutes of 7/16/2024.
Second.
Moved and supported, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we do have an acknowledgement of correspondence from Brownstown Charter Township for the notice of a public hearing. In this one,
That was last night, wasn't it?
it is. Yeah, do we have any background? There it is.
It's next Monday, August
Yeah, it's the
26th.
26th. So it's in regards to,
You want to put a truck wash and all that stuff there.
yeah, it's the special use, it's a special use to expand an existing fueling station and convenience store by adding truck fueling and a car wash at 27,000 Fort Street.
That's the one I've relented for.
Right. Correct. So,
Motion to receive and
yeah,
file?
we'd be looking for a motion to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okey-doke. Do we have public comment for matters not on the agenda? We have no unfinished business. Moving into the new business section. This is the discussion around potential recommendation to city council regarding the R1 district special use potential of horse stables. So this is open to discussion with the commission. I don't know if there's any questions in regards to feedback we received.
We have the revised definitions, right?
Yep.
At this point, I mean, as much as we went through this, I'm okay with it. I mean, there's a lot for them to do. They gotta go to the
Oh,
city,
yeah.
state.
Yes.
They gotta start somewhere, so until we can just say, we're okay with I don't see where it'll do damage. And to the waterways, again, the DEQ and the state will control that, so.
It all follows through the site plan review and, yep, building inspector.
I think it'd be good for the city. Make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve. Recommend. Or recommend.
Support.
revision.
So just for clarity, Jim Bilk is making a recommendation to city council to amend the R1 district to allow special use of horse stables.
Exactly.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okey-doke. B is a potential recommendation to city council zoning ordinance in the C3 district. This is a reduction to the number of sites permitted. Currently, ordinance states 40 sites. The initial request from previous owner was 26 sites. We'd like to reduce that to match the 26 site request, essentially, for consideration. Any questions or discussion?
They have 25 slabs now, right?
Right, yeah. Yep.
No, they have 25 slabs poured now over there for 25 places, so. But, yeah, I think that's a good idea. They don't have that much room in there. You're looking at their plan anyways. They don't have a lot of room in there, so.
And just for, I guess for clarity, to add, let's say they came and put a request in to add one more, if we were to match the 26, they'd have to go through the entire approval and permitting process and everything, which was stated earlier was not previously followed, however, would need to be.
So there's 25 now, so you want 20, or you're gonna okay 26, so they can just go ahead and put one more in?
No, that's what I was just asking, they couldn't.
all right.
I'd be, well, I think the number is up for discussion, so we could,
I just wanna know what bucket's holding water, you know?
the number's up for discussion, so to be honest with you, if
25 sounds good.
25 sounds better to me, yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm good with that. I mean, that makes sense.
What's the site approval for
Because it says
Humbug two?
less than 20, less than 40, so it'd be less than 26.
It'd be less than, it'd be moved to less than 26, meaning 25.
25, okay.
Correct.
Just want to make sure I was
Yes.
following.
Or
A maximum.
25 or less, or a maximum of 25. Yeah.
The language is already written.
It says
for
less than-
26 or less?
No,
Or less than
No, it says,
26?
it says,
Less than
it says less than 40.
but if we're just
Yeah.
changing that one number
So we could say less than
rather than
26.
words.
Yes.
This is just showing,
Well, 25 is less than 26, so
Yeah, so we'd be good with that, just change the number.
this is just showing what they're talking about now.
I don't disagree, but that's also next on the agenda.
So we would need a recommendation for that one to go to city council as well, if we're in agreement.
I'll recommend it to go to city council. Revise from 40 to 26, less than 26.
So it sounds like Jim Bilk's making a recommendation in the C3 district for RV parks to be 26 or less sites. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. C in new business is the approval of the site plan for Humbug 2 at 28043 North Gibraltar Road. And this is the seasonal RV location.
Well, then might as well pave the whole thing.
Jane, can you refresh
Yes,
our
so-
memory on the,
Absolutely. I believe this was last at the Planning Commission in January, so January 16th, 2024. And there was a public hearing held regarding the special use application. At that point, the commission approved the special use subject to two conditions. One which was to identify designated overflow parking area, and the second was to designate a pet relief or pet run area on the site. In addition, in order to achieve final site plan, there were a couple of stormwater management issues that the applicant needed to address with the city's engineer. The city's engineer has since kind of worked those problems out with the applicant and has indicated that those have been resolved. And you'll see with the revised site plans that have been submitted for tonight's meeting, they've identified that pet run area as well as the overflow parking area. So the action this evening is to approve the Humbug 2 site plan.
They also added the dust control that the neighbor was asking for.
what?
Dust control.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody seated Baker. I didn't see him come in.
See that?
I just didn't see him come in.
So all indications are they've satisfied our requests for the added items that we need to see on this plan?
That's correct.
All this is still subject to the building department though, right? The plumbing that was done, the underground electrical, because none of that has actually been inspected.
Yes, so they will still have to go through the normal building department channels for any sort of, final certificate of occupancy approvals. But this is really just the action for the site plan approval.
I think just for clarity, since a permit was not pulled, I guess, essentially, or requested last time, we would have to go through that formal, I just want to double check.
Yes. My understanding is they will, have to retroactively pull the permit. I don't know what the fee structure is with that, but they'll have to go through and do what they did not do.
And that would now be through our building department since we switched it.
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion, questions?
Is that up to code, them tapping into that sewer in the bathhouse? Like what Wayne was talking about?
I'm not sure. I think that's part of that inspection process for permitting in the building inspection. I don't know. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's a great question. We raised the same question with the engineer.
They didn't have to pay for a sewer tap that way.
Yeah, so we raised that flag with the engineers, and Vince, the engineers, and the individuals on that end sat down. I did not personally get access to all the follow-up information that was provided to the engineers and Vince and parties, but I do know that video footage of what was done in the underground was a part of that request from the meeting that I had sat in initially. So I know that was something that was absolutely in focus. I can't speak to the details of what was found, but no, that was a request.
Okay. Just want to cover bases, I think we should seat Bill Baker too, right? He come in late.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes. Do we need like a
Motion.
Yeah,
motion?
motion
A
to
motion
seat.
to seat Bill Baker?
Go for it.
Sit down.
Do we have one?
Motion to seat Bill Baker.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah, I'm watering
You'd
my
have to kick him
peppers.
out. You'd have
I'm
to
in the
kick him out.
backyard watering my peppers, and I go, holy crap, it's Tuesday, I forgot.
We were worried because you always message.
Yeah.
So basically, they added everything we asked to the site plan.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I believe so, based on what I remember.
And it isn't in violation of our request to go less than 26, what it's showing, so.
Correct. No.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan as presented.
Second.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That covers new business. We have no postponed or referred items. Commissioner Forum? Be looking for a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the planning commission meeting.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Dang, I got here just in time.
Yeah, you barely,
Man, you guys went to this part fast.
if we wouldn't have made that motion, he would have never,
approving everything
it
today.
was like he was never here.
Good evening, commission members. Since you led with Pledge of Allegiance already, we will jump to calling the Downtown Development Authority meeting in order, and would love for Katie to please call roll.
Schumate,
Here.
Baker,
Here.
Bilk. Here. Cox,
Here.
Frisone. Here. Hutchinson,
Here.
Mendoza Back, Hyatt. Here. Upholzer,
Here.
Wood.
Here.
Great. I'm looking for a motion to excuse the absent member.
Motion to excuse absent members.
Is there a second? Second from Bilk. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? At this point in the agenda, we'd like to open up for public comments. Are there any members of our public that are willing to address Downtown Development Authority meeting today? That will close our public comment. And commission members, I'd like to call your attention to the approved agenda in front of you, but we're looking for a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda this evening?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? With our approved agenda, let's get into it with the approval of previous meeting minutes. Commission members, in your packet, you will see the previous meeting minutes. Item A, DDA minutes of 7/16/2024. Is there a motion to approve the DDA minutes of 7/16/2024?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Commission members, in this packet, next section, call your attention in your packet the 4th of July budget expenditures. This is an acknowledgement of correspondence from Tammy Goris on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Department. Obviously, there's a lot of discussion with this commission around 4th of July. I want to thank you also for your, I would say, prospective action in securing some of the needs for next year's 4th of July facilities and festivities. What I will call to your attention is each of the line item budget that you'll see here in your packet. It will calculate the totals. You'll see across each line item, including the entertainment, the broader fireworks, the tent and party rental, Scotty's Potties, and the family fun time amusement. I wanted to call your attention specifically to that one. We're working with the attorney in regards to trying to secure any funds that would be appropriate given our termination of those festival rides, which was the right decision on the city of Gibraltar. So we're looking to try and recoup some of those funds from our deposit there. But I wanted to put this in front of you, let you have a chance to read it, and we'd be looking for a motion related to the 4th of July budget expenditures. We'll call this one receive and file, since it's a correspondence from our Parks and Recreation.
Those are actual costs that we spent, not the budget, right?
Correct.
We were over budget, I would expect.
Correct. Great call.
Motion to receive and file.
Great. Motion to receive and file.
Support.
Second. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Coming in front of you in future meetings will be the planning efforts for next year's 4th of July festivities. I know the Parks and Recreation Department and others have been working to prospectively engage other options we have, given our experience last year. We've already made a couple steps in advance in our last meeting related to some of the things that we'll need for next year's festivities. There is no unfinished business listed on this evening's agenda, so that will bring us to new business. On new business, I'll call your attention first to item A. If you recall in our last commission meeting, item A is the approval of the McKenna sub-area plan and the associated proposal. I want to give you a little bit of context here, just to level set on what we covered previously. McKenna, Jane, our city planner, on behalf of McKenna, had presented to you a sub-area plan concept, and she had provided some examples from other communities that had leveraged that sub-area plan. Simply put, the focus of this sub-area plan concept is in our downtown development district, specifically Central Gibraltar and North Gibraltar Road, so the focus on the Marina area and Community Center area. As you know, we've had a lot of broader discussions around a couple areas. Number one is we have an ongoing resident survey, and that resident survey, I want to give a special shout out to those that have already taken the survey. We're at 386 actually electronic responses and 18 hard copy responses. We're making a final push. Big thanks to council, Katie, and many others. I'd love to see that number tick higher, but that survey is planning to close at the end of August. Why I bring up that survey is it's imperative to understand our residents' perspectives on many things, including the question on what is missing in Gibraltar. And you'll imagine that probably will elicit some responses related to things that residents would like to see that is not currently present, especially when it relates to our downtown area. The second element is it also assesses residents' perspectives on the broader vision for the city of Gibraltar. And what I mean by that is how they see either, let's say, unlocking more for those that are already here in Gibraltar versus developing that would be an attraction for those people to come to Gibraltar. And you can imagine those philosophical vision differences. We want to assess the community's perspective on that. So I give you that color because you'll have the full survey sent to you, obviously, but it'll give you a perspective on what our residents are looking for. And I bring that up as a prereq because the sub-area plan that Jane had presented in the last meeting is really focused on how we look at Middle Gibraltar Road from Denison Street to the Bayview and North Gibraltar Road from Middle Gibraltar Road to Waterway Drive, and how we think about things that this city and community need, such as the issues that were raised on a lack of on-street parking, and that's specifically relevant to Middle and North Gibraltar Road, as well as how we think about pedestrian traffic, bicycle circulation, and other placemaking opportunities. It also includes an ability to have a detailed assessment on retail market analyses and options for effective service to our residents through businesses that may want to invest in this community. I give you all that because while that's the high level, it really involves a lot of, I would say, key stakeholder engagement. You all commission members being critical stakeholders, obviously your peers on city council. It does a lot to engage public throughout the process in different ways of bringing their voice to the table. And obviously then would couple with what I opened up with, which is the resident survey voice that we will have already captured. A couple thoughts from me as you're reviewing is, Jane, thank you for assembling this proposal. And commission members, you'll see the detailed proposal that's captured in your packet here. It covers everything from the scope of work broadly on project initiation and due diligence, how they think about the preliminary design and analyses that will take place, the ongoing public engagement element of this, and you'll see a lot of different color there in regards to meetings and workshops and one-on-one interviews. It'll talk about the phasing plan and key priority segments, and then it will talk about adoption. I'll tell you, I think we always want to be very mindful of cost, obviously, as a leading front for all that we're doing in the city. So that's one factor I think you need to pay attention to. But in context of cost, I think we're in a really good position as a city of Gibraltar. If you recall the budget adoption we just had, we have favorable equity balances across major areas that we need them. We were able to reduce the millage. But specifically for this, why this is in front of you is because this relates to DDA dollars. And with DDA dollars, you have a healthy position of funds. And I know we talked about some of the surplus in previous meetings related to addressing key priority projects for the city of Gibraltar, but you have the dollars to accommodate this, and we're, I would say, procuring dollars on an annual basis into DDA. So really what the question comes to you is, number one, make sure you do a detailed dive of this plan that's put in front of you from McKenna. Two, while you have the dollars secured, I think consider those dollars invested relative to what this could provide for your path ahead. Because number three is, I think we can all acknowledge that our downtown development should be a high priority, especially in the practical things like parking and others that I mentioned this evening. And since we have funds available, it would probably be astute to develop a very sound sub-area plan that would serve as a foundation for deploying capital that we have as a city to enhance our downtown development. So I want to give you all that background. A couple other tactical things is the project would be initiated in late September if you so chose to carry forward and carry on into early 2025. Jane, I'm not speaking as an expert here, but that was my summary. Anything you'd like to add?
Yes, thank you so much for that summary. I think that was very succinct and appropriate. And I apologize, I'm realizing now I'm looking in the packet, my project schedule is blank. All of my nice grade squares showing you exactly when each item was going to happen didn't make it through. But yes, the objective would be to have this kind of into the adoption process by May, and then have most of the work done and all the public engagement through the winter months. So using kind of October and November as those due diligent months to get everything started. The proposal really, tries to highlight what you've already done in terms of hearing from the residents as a basis. That's why we don't necessarily start with that survey, but we want to take what you've done with your community survey and implement that into some ideas and concepts to really present to the public so that no one's getting fatigued and no one's like, okay, we already heard this question, we've already been asked that. And we really want to target our questions to the public having to do specifically with the sub-area we've identified. So I think that this kind of fits well with where you are with engaging your residents right now. And then the idea is to really come out of this with a phasing plan and priority steps for improvements so that you can think about how you know, what changes you want to make and how you're going to allocate your funds. And then we can help you do that if, you know, you want to work with us in the future on that. And, but this will really set the stage for all of that, is the hope.
Does any of the, oh, I'm sorry. Good.
Thank you.
Does any of the funding fall under, so that surplus of funding that we had from the, not the bond, was it, remember we had the
Water main.
water main, can we use, I remember we listed out 9 potential projects. Do we have the capability to use any of that funding for something like this? It's an investment in.
It's a great question. I don't want to misspeak, so I'd want to consult Vince and finance on that. But they assured me, I spoke with both parties coming in to represent this on their behalf today, and they assured me that those funds are available. So whether it comes from that component or the other fund that we have balance in, either way, that money has been
Are we
assured.
talking about the $40,000 listing here?
Correct.
Was that not issued as a grant to?
Great question. I asked the same question. That grant we got was $50,000, and it was for the housing readiness. So that's the ordinance committee, many of which you are sitting on. I know Commissioner Bilk is. So separate dollars for that project. And that's to make sure we take a critical deep dive on our ordinance language and the updates, which are, you all have navigated, are quite necessary. So separate dollars, but I asked the same question. Good call. I guess, Jane, just a couple of things just for the sake of discussion purposes. One is, you know, the cost estimate, right? It's an up to amount, meaning what's realized is actually billed. And it's involving the necessity of the two-way partnership to make sure we're efficient in spending. Is that a fair summary?
To go with that, I mean, would it be possible to break down your 5 tasks and like what resources you're using and how many hours of each for each step, 1 through 5? Because you have the hourly rate of all your people underneath it. It'd be nice to see, because if you got public engagement, 8,000, who's doing it and what's in it, how many hours?
Yeah, I would be happy to provide the body with that information and prepare that.
I think it's astute today too, especially because we just talked about, like you even mentioned it, right? Some of the resident engagement and versus redundancy, we could probably create more efficiency there with some work that's already been done. I know Commissioner Baker and I talked after the last meeting, because Commissioner Baker's been involved in quite a bit around the community, and I know there's been some work historically, right, to look at downtown area. While it's probably not to date and relevant in many cases, I did some deep dive. Commissioner Baker, we can talk about that. Some of that data has changed drastically, including demographic and retail considerations. But there might be some efficiencies perhaps there in some of the ongoing, or I would say existing information we have, so.
Yeah, and that's definitely part of the due diligence process, and making sure we're recognizing all the past work that's already been done. So that's, stage 1 for sure.
And Jane, if you could just, last question for me, for discussion purposes, if you could refresh the commission's minds on, I know you walk through, you've done this for other communities, and there's different packages based on scale. Can you walk through kind of like a general representation of the scale and investment that others may have made in this?
Yeah, so one example, most recently, we just did a sub-area plan for Tecumseh on Evans Street, and they did a retail market study, not quite as much public engagement as is included in this proposal, and they were updating a plan that was only 6 years old, so they kind of had a basis to start with that, and that was more in the $25,000 range, so that's kind of, I'm highlighting some of the differences there.
Yep.
And then We've done the Cedar Street corridor, which was a much larger area, and that included, full kind of almost engineering level work in regards to rebuilding the road and really reconstructing the whole road area. It's a much bigger corridor, and that's more in the $100,000 range with more extensive public engagement. And then we did a Jefferson corridor study between River Rouge and Ecorse, and that was more in that $40,000 range with similar kind of level of engagement. I wouldn't, it's obviously a little bit different context between the two communities, but kind of similar problems to think about. They already have on-street parking though, so we're not necessarily doing a complete redesign, more looking at the placemaking opportunities and the streetscaping. And I want to emphasize with this plan, the hope is to come out with, something the community wants to see in terms of design of benches, design of lighting, all of the things that will make it feel like this unique place in Gibraltar, hopefully will be vetted, with the community's blessing and making sure that it's reflective of what the community wants to see. So really going into that with that fine-tooth comb and thinking about the details will be what comes out of this
Awesome.
plan.
I said it was my last question, but it's not. Last question. Since your timeline is mid-September, or sorry, late September initiation, and since there might be some data points that commission members would like to see, including maybe the calendarized timeline that you had called out earlier, would it be appropriate option whether they want to approve this evening? That's up to the commission members, or if we want to fill in some of those data points and they could review it at the September meeting, which would still meet your timeline?
Yeah, if we come back in September and have those details, and then I think, could still initiate at the end of September, early October.
Commission, I'd recommend that paths, and I can work to pull some more information for you too, as far as like some of the historical context that Commissioner Baker and I were talking about, but it's up to you.
Could we see the line item where this would fit in the DDA budget as well?
Perfect.
And the total funds we have. Other potential, is there an opportunity to look at a 40K versus a 30K versus a 25K option? Does it make a difference? I don't know. I don't know the backgrounds on it. You did explain some of that. The corridor that you had mentioned between River Rouge and Ecorse is pretty substantial with a lot of commercialization and stuff. This is a pretty small area. What specifically does it cover, right? So is it all from the Gibraltar intersection?
Yeah, they,
The south, middle, north one, right over here, all the way to Jefferson in each one of those, or just the DDA area? I didn't see, is there a map?
I asked the same question, and I know there's some street delineations in the packet on the proposed action file, but Jane, do you want to comment on any of that?
Yeah, so this was something I discussed with Vince, and his recommendation was from Denison to Bayview on Middle Gibraltar, so just within the DDA area, and that's what's key to being able to use those DDA funds as well. And then on Middle, North Gibraltar, from Middle Gibraltar to Waterway Drive, so kind of looking into the Marina area. I think something, and with the breakdown of cost for each item with a little bit more detail, you could see the opportunities if you decide you don't want to have the online engagement. And maybe that's something that you decide is not necessary or something of that nature. There are going to be parts of it that are kind of non-negotiable, obviously core items, but with kind of the detail, you'll hopefully be able to get that kind of tiered view on some of that opportunity. The, I guess, surprising, maybe not surprising aspect of this study in comparison to the other studies is all those other studies had a kind of already distinct streetscape or just streetway that with curbs and plantings and, there was something there already. So this is really starting not from scratch, but with a little bit more opportunity. But with that, you're looking at more items than some of these other plans have included.
Does having a sub-area plan help, or do we know if it helps with grant writing and cities gathering more funding from state and federal governments?
It's a great question. And Jane, we haven't had a chance to talk about it, but appropriate time to bring that up. I sit on the executive committee for SEMCOG, And I see there's probably a lot of opportunity to bring them in and engage them, especially with a lot of the scope of this work.
So the initial investment, although somewhat costly, could be far outweighed by investment from the state and federal governments in the city. Potentially.
Perhaps, and I think, I don't know, Jane, my perspective is from what I'm learning about this, I think the value is in a very tangible, data-driven, phased plan. So we can take dollars available and deploy them against an evolution, right? Because there's been a lot of discussion for a lot of time, and my personal opinion is we could use not transformation, but evolution and improvement to preserve what we have, but to unlock some, we have abandoned buildings there, we have other, things that need to be evolved, right? And so this would probably be a very tangible plan. I know Commissioner Baker, not to speak for you, but we had talked about, some of the previous work, and if it's not advancing, why was it not done, right? Or why was it not fully leveraged, right? And I think my hope is, and I want to be assured that, like, if this investment is done, that it's a very clear, time-bound, phased plan, and that we can take the capital we know we have and calendarize that to make these investments certain, right? And systematic versus arbitrarily deploying at one variable at a time,
And anything deeper into it, so anything from a sub-area plan would fall into the larger prioritization of investment across the city, right? Like infrastructure, or does it say separate? Meaning, like, if we have to do investment there and you widen roads and add a parking and it requires sewer line moving and all that stuff?
I'd want to verify, but with DDA, right, as the piece, that's gonna have some sort of relationship to where dollars are deployed widely versus in this area.
Okay.
Would be my short answer.
Will this study include the area where the Pablo Pavilion is, that corner there?
I'm sorry?
The corner where the Pablo Pavilion is, will this study include the same area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's always been my understanding when we put that there, didn't mean it was going to stay there for 100 years. If an opportunity came along that would benefit the city, then that pavilion could always be moved and we could use that corner for something else, so.
That's the beauty of, to me, it's an expert, data-driven exercise that helps create a tangible plan. I love this discussion, Jane. I think this is a very worthwhile discussion to have because it gives you some tactics. So I can take the budget one and make sure that we're aligned on that, on where the dollars will be coming from, and then the broader context of dollars, so you know where you'd have to deploy. The line item breakdown, Jane, for budget will help. Commissioner Bilk brought that up. The project plan update, and then that'll help commission kind of see like the different options, and then maybe in that you can code out like what is non-negotiable, meaning it's a core element to the project, and what would be the a la carte items they could choose from.
One more question.
Yeah.
On the additional services, including attending additional meetings, I mean, is the 40,000 include a lot of meetings coming here already, or where does that kick in? What defines additional?
Yeah, so within the proposal, I'm sorry, I'm going to work backwards from adoption back to the beginning, because that's where I'm in this document. It includes one city council meeting for adoption, one planning commission meeting for adoption. We would have 4 working meetings with the DDA or a steering committee to discuss the concept plans after they're vetted with the community. We would have a community workshop, so that would be a big, more open meeting here, as well as a kickoff meeting with the DDA or steering committee, and as well, we'd have 8 interviews, which may or may not be in person, depending on what this body decides. So you're looking at, I think it comes out to be around 7 or 8 meetings.
You have those laid out in here.
Yes, and in my
city.
original project schedule that there were X's of when those meetings occurred on the months, but that will be an easy thing to get to you all because it's already done.
Awesome.
Cool, thanks.
Well, Commission, this is a great discussion. We'll make sure all those follow-up areas are taken care of, and then we'll have this back in front of you in September so that if you do choose to go down that path, it still is in accordance with the timeline proposed.
Jane, the Ecorse River Rouge corridor, is it possible at least to get a couple of renderings of what you guys came up with? The reason why I ask is because I work in Ecorse. So I'm curious to see what you guys have come up with versus what it actually looks like right now.
Yeah, so I'm happy to provide you with the plan. It was a little bit different of a plan than the design aspect of this plan, because it was looking at it more holistically. And I will also add the context that the eCourse DDA really doesn't have any funds. So that kind of creates some challenges, and we've been working closely with their DDA, but it's really been fundraising rather than fund allocation. And so I'm happy to provide the plan, and you can definitely see where we're at compared to when that was created in 2018.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great discussion. Thanks for bringing this, Jane, and for taking those follow-ups. Any other questions, comments on Sub-area? Okay, let's move on to the next item. The next item in your packet is the authorization to the invoice from Six Panes Glass and Design for installation of bullet-resistant window between dispatch center and public hallway. Couple thoughts here, just for your background. One, aside from this specific aspect of this invoice, just an update that we did absorb the City of Rockwood's dispatch. So we are now operating as a consolidated dispatch serving both Gibraltar and Rockwood. I give you that context because it's been a great win for both communities that already had so much collaboration to date. So financial win, operational win, strategic win. And for our residents, the opportunity to keep dispatch in Gibraltar was a key priority, and I'm really grateful we were able to accomplish that. So thanks to council, thanks to Chief Tangway and everybody that helped come together and make that happen, and thanks to City of Rockwood. And I gave you that background is because now that the dispatch is increased volume, it's obviously on a 24-hour clock serving both communities. One of the discussions we had with dispatch amongst the broader department was the desire for bulletproof glass. Especially when it comes to the late night shifts, because our building stays open. And if you walk in here, you'll notice that there was no protection for any dispatch at that window that they would be greeting people at. So that's where you approved the invoice or the project to put in bulletproof glass. And you'll notice we redirected the signs so that every resident that comes in is directed to that bulletproof window. And it also is where the dispatch services are actually being held actively. Now, what happened was Chief Tangway gave this information to make sure that we had it for you this evening. You had approved the project, and if you scroll to the next page, which is your invoice from Six Panes, upon getting their permit for the work and getting into the wall, they had to literally open up the brick wall where dispatch window would go. They encountered an unexpected set of electrical wiring. Bill is much more of an expert than I am, so any questions can be deferred there. But the reality is they had to add cost to basically reroute a bunch of electrical in order to effectively establish the window. So you'll see that there is an additional charge from Six Panes. So it brings the total project up $3,750 to accommodate that additional work. We wanted to make sure this is brought in front of you, obviously for approval of the invoice, but I wanted to make sure that it was flagged as to how that unexpected cost arose and the nature of that cost. So we'll be looking for a motion from the commission to approve the invoice captured in your packet from Six Panes Glass and Design for installation bullet-resistant window between the dispatch center and public hallway in the total amount of $14,550.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion carried. You'll notice that our DDA director is not in this evening, but didn't have anything to call out. Are there any questions for Vince, our DDA director? Great. No table and referred items, so commission members, now would be the time if you are willing to provide a motion to adjourn. I'm sorry? Motion by Wood and second. Yep, cool. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Have an awesome evening. Thank you, everybody.
What's that?
What did electrical look like on those rides?
A lot of freight wiring, a lot of cables. Really? Yeah. A lot of cables going in the junction boxes. Whatever.